Hello everyone and welcome to my channel and welcome to this video. Today we will be inking and painting this cute little funny colorful Christmas tree, and for that I did use this Canson Graduate watercolor paper. This is 100% cellulose, cold pressed, 250 grams. So for the watercolors, I use ZenArt watercolors, and for the colors, warm sepia, a little bit of the magenta, Prussian blue, chromium oxide, raw sienna. And I think that's all the colors I did use. For the brushes today, I used this Dainayw #1 mob brush, #8 round Raphael brush, and this no name detail brush to add in those white details with this art creation white all-purpose paint. And you can use white acrylics, a white gouache, or just any white opaque paint to add in a couple of details. For the ink pen, I use Micron 03 ink pen. And that's basically all the supplies you will be needing. And without further ado, let's get to our painting. I will get my 03 ink pen and do the inking first. So let's just start. I will go on top of the lines on my sketch. And then when I finish with those, I will do a little bit of the embellishments. So the sketch for you guys is available for download, and all of these sketches for this winter and Christmas ornaments are going to be available on my Patreon, but you can just join for free and gain access to all of these sketches. So I'll put the link in the description box, which you can follow and find all of those sketches. And then just a little bit of those embellishments here. Later on, when I finish with my watercolors, I will get back and do a little bit more of the inking, because I do expect that my watercolors are gonna cover a little bit of those that ink work, because I'm using quite saturated paints. If you're using watered down, probably not as much, but I will be using quite saturated paint, so I do expect them to cover some of my ink work. So a little bit of the splatters. When I start adding my watercolors, I will have some bleeds. So let's just start with some raw sienna, and I'm gonna paint in the top part, and maybe, maybe this part with a bit of the raw sienna. And also I will get a second brush, get more of the raw sienna, and then just drop that into the bottom part and right side, like that, just to add a little bit of the variety. And then get some chromium oxide or green. I'm gonna paint in the second part, and I can also paint in this larger one with the green. Like that. I don't have to be super precise. Soften this. This is fun and colorful Christmas tree. Bit more of that green also here. like that to make it a bit more interesting. And then rinse my brush and a little bit of the, I'm gonna use some magenta. And I'm gonna paint in this next part with magenta. I'm gonna get the second brush, move that paint a bit around, get maybe a little bit more, drop it like that, and then maybe in between these two, I'm gonna paint one magenta, more section, a bit more magenta, and then add some more ink like that. Do you think it's super fun? I think this one is super fun. Maybe just a little bit more, or not just a little bit more, but more of chromium oxide. I'm gonna paint this one green again. And I don't mind if they bleed one into the other. That's fine with me. And also I do want to get a little bit more of the Prussian blue and paint in maybe one with the Prussian blue. Like that, and then a bit more. And one more. I will paint in raw sienna. So like that. And let's get more of the raw sienna, do some splatters with that, and then just splatter also on top of my Christmas tree. Then just go on top over to the edges, maybe move that paint a bit outside the edges, so it doesn't have to all be so clean. Where it's wet, I might have some bleeds like that. I can get a little bit more of the Prussian blue, drop that here, and then a little bit more of the magenta, drop that here. Like that. Just straight away embellish it a little bit with those bleeds. Quite saturated. And do some splatters with just a clean water. Like that. And I can paint in one little bulb on top with that magenta. A bit more of the splatters. I'm gonna get more green and do some splatters with the green. And then I'm gonna get some sepia. This is warm sepia. And I'm gonna paint in the trunk, the tree trunk. A bit more clean water. I'm gonna try to dry it just a tiny bit, not all the way, so I can add some splatters with clean water, have some nice textures. So just a little bit, not all the way. And this is now somewhat dry, so let's just see if it's dry enough. I do have puddles forming because my paper is warping. I do have some puddles, and because I do have those puddles, the water is sitting there and can't really create nice textures. Doesn't matter, it looks nice anyway. I'm gonna dry that. And now I have everything dry. I will get more of the ink pen and just add a bit more of the details to my tree. Just emphasize some of the lines. Like that. Add some shading. As I did mention, Watercolors did cover a little bit of the ink, but I also did leave the details and the stylizing to do it when I finish my watercolors, at least first layer. Just a bit. Over at the corners, I'm gonna add a bit more of the ink and just underneath those little dots I did, like that, and then here. Quite loosely and wiggly wobbly lines. And then this corner. Just play around and scribble. Doodle. Like that. Looks super cute. I just love how that looks. And I can add also a few details here and there on the tree. And maybe also some dots here and there. This is fun Christmas tree, so it's quite embellished. And we can add as many details as we like. Like that. And also I will get, again, this brush, get a little bit of the sepia and just add in a few spots, maybe not as much. This is now wet, so it's gonna bleed. Just for some shading at the bottom. A bit of that sepia, like that. very, very light wash. You can see I'm not using a lot of the pigment in my brush. Over at the corners, maybe. Like that. And let's just get more of the magenta. Do some few splatters with the magenta. Get more green. Couple of splatters with the green. Get some more Prussian blue. Do some few splatters. I do want to water it down with that. Also Prussian blue, like that. And I will dry that again. I will use this white art creation. And with this small brush, just gonna dip in and add those couple of highlights of white. So just a few droplets of white onto our Christmas tree. Like that. And now we're done with our cute little colorful tree. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button, share it, comment, and press that hype also button. You know, it kind of helps this video to reach a larger audience, and definitely helps my channel. So I would really appreciate that if you do like it, to press that also hype button. And if you haven't still, please also do subscribe to my channel. I have so much demands from you, but yeah, you know, it doesn't hurt to ask. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't been here before, or you're here for the first time. I have many tutorials on my channel for beginners and advanced painters, and I'm sure you will definitely find something for yourself. And check out my Patreon, link in the description box, to get your free sketches. So again, thank you so much for joining me today, and I do hope I will see you also in our next video. Bye!